God morgon och välkomna allesammans till webbinarie nummer 2 i Synergas Inverter Week. Kul att så många har hittat till oss. Vi körde igång igår med SolarEdge och idag är det Fronius tur. Under dagens webbinarie så skulle jag vilja be er att hålla mikrofonen avstängd. Men ni får jättegärna komma med frågor. Skriv dem gärna i chatten så ska jag försöka ta dem. Som ni märker här innan jag startade inspelningen så Vinoth, han pratar engelska. Så vill ni skriva frågorna på engelska eller svenska så går det bra, så tar jag dem med Vinoth. Det kommer finnas tid både mitt i och i slutet av webbinariet och under egentligen hela tiden att ställa frågor. Så att det är något ni sitter och funderar på så kan ni definitivt ta dem där, så sitt inte och grubbla för mycket. Ni kommer få både min och Vinoths PowerPoint från Fronius här efter webbinariet. Vi kommer mejla ut dem till alla som är anmälda idag. Och ni kommer ganska snabbt idag också kunna hitta en inspelning på våran YouTube-kanal. Så att jag tänkte köra en liten kort presentation om vilka vi på Synerga är innan vi går vidare med Fronius. Och vi på Synerga, vi jobbar med materialdistribution för proffsmarknaden i Norden. Vi erbjuder projekt- och teknikstöd. Så att om ni har några Fronius-projekt efter det här så ställer vi gärna upp och hjälper er att räkna och rekommendera växelriktare och paneler och infästningar. Vi jobbar också en hel del med utbildning som kommer komma här om en liten slide till. Men om man tar vår materialdistribution så distribuerar vi allt vårt lager från Västervik. Och där distribueras allting från solpaneler, växelriktare, montagematerial, kablar, brytare, överspänningsskydd och även en hel del batterier och elbilsladdare. Från oss på Synerga så är det kortare transporter jämfört med gods från Europa, och det är också försäkrat till så att det lossas hos er. Vi erbjuder projekt- och teknikstöd, så tveka inte att komma in till oss. Inget projekt kan vara för stort eller för litet. Så fråga gärna om ni har några frågor. När vi jobbar med utbildning så jobbar vi med allting ifrån produktutbildning med våra leverantörer som idag med Fronius, eller med partnerutbildningar med branschledare. Vi erbjuder också skräddarsydda spetsutbildningar till våra kunder. Men vi har också yrkeshögskoleuppdrag på yrkeshögskolan. Om man tittar på de produkterna som vi jobbar med på växelriktarsidan så har vi 5 stycken varumärken där vi kommer gå igenom alla 5 denna veckan. Vi kommer ha ett webbinarie för varje växelriktare och det är det här vi kallar Inverter Week. Så idag är det dags för Fronius. På montagesidan så arbetar vi med de här. Mycket van der Valk från Nederländerna, men också en hel del marksystem från Tree Systems. Och även våra svenska varumärken såsom C.V. Lundberg och Veland Stål. På panelsidan så jobbar vi uteslutande med 3 stycken Tier 1-tillverkare. Det är Fono, Trina och Longi. Men jag ska inte bli långrandig utan jag ska lämna över till Vinoth från Fronius.
Good morning. As Tim mentioned, I'm Vinoth from Fronius, working for Fronius for the past 4 years. I was working as a tech support before, now I'm working as a technical advisor. Sorry that we have to do this webinar today in English because my Swedish is very, very bad. One thing I can promise is that in future you can have a Swedish webinar from Fronius because now we have Fronius Sweden running and operating well, but they are just started working a couple of weeks ago, so they will have to go for training in couple more weeks. So we have 2 Swedish guys working for Fronius in Sweden already. So from future you will be in contact with them and they will provide you with all the help in Swedish. And as Tim mentioned, you will receive this presentation, so you don't have to make a big notes. You can just listen to this presentation. Also, you will receive a video link, I believe. And if you have any questions, just type in the chat and Tim will try to answer as much as possible. And if not, it will be answered later by email as well. Yep. And today this presentation is going to be like between 1 hour or more than that. I would like to first present the PPT, like slides, show screenshots and important things. And later I would like to also take a small tour to Fronius website or Fronius SolarWeb so that I can show a little bit more detailed information where you can find other useful things in Fronius website, like certificates or operating manuals or things like that. Yep, and today's agenda is, first I would like to give a small introduction about Fronius and then our product list like snap inverters. I hope some of you know, or maybe some of you are new to Fronius or PV business. So I will give a brief introduction, and then we have our new heroes, Gen 24, the hybrid inverter where you can couple the batteries, and SolarWeb monitoring, load management, how to activate, shift the load. Like for example, when you have early morning loads, you can change it to later day so that you can use your PV for your own consumption, like heating or EV charging, etc. And then troubleshooting and service process when there is something wrong, or if something is need to be changed or performed better, or do some optimization, how to do that or how to reach. That's troubleshooting and service process, or Fronius SOS. And then Fronius system partner training concept. There is something new, like Fronius. Probably you have heard about Fronius service partners, or maybe some of you are already a Fronius service partners. And it's something similar, but there is a lot of things improved and getting you more closer and bringing you more integration to other systems. We'll see that what it means later in detail. To give a small introduction about Fronius, probably some of you might know or some of you are new, as I mentioned. It's all started by Mr. Gunther Fronius on his name in 1945, right after the Second World War, in Pettenbach in Austria. He started repairing the car batteries. So he found a charging technology to fix the car batteries and resell them. And later, you know, today we have 3 business units like Perfect Charging and Perfect Welding and Fronius Solar. That's the latest kit, but still we have 27 years experience in Fronius Solar business. So yeah, it started by 1992, our first inverter. Globally, these red marked regions, these are the regions where we have our direct subsidiaries, like Fronius Denmark or Fronius Norway, for example, and also Fronius Sweden has to be colored red because now we have a direct agency in Sweden. So Fronius Sweden is operating. And these gray regions are the market where we only sell, and we have our service partners and sales partners, but we don't have a direct agency, but maybe not today. And why Fronius? There are many PV inverters available in the market, probably a little bit for less price maybe. Why Fronius? We have some 27 years of experience, so you have to pay for that. No, sorry, it's not that. We have something different on board, like a better cooling concept and better operating things, and also a better algorithm for shadows on things. So there are a lot of technical aspects there. But in a sales point of view, why Fronius? It's for quality, experience, and the international support. I don't know if you have 27/4 like around the clock support in any inverter manufacturer, but we are introducing this within this year. Right now we are testing that hotlines. Today you can call from 8 to 5 in the evening, but soon you will have 24/7 support. And it's a family-owned business. What do these products have in common? Like right from the Sunrise in 1995 or Fronius IG, I don't know how many IG Plus are standing still in south of Sweden, but I'm very sure that you have a lot of the snap inverters like Fronius Simo, Fronius Echo, and the Simo Hybrid. And soon, many people are eagerly waiting for the Fronius Gen 24 Plus. It will be available from Q3 this year. They all are tested above the norm in every aspect, I should say. It will be good if you get a chance to visit Austria. Please do visit our production facility and have a tour to our production facility and R&D facility, so that you can understand what it is really meant in this slide. All aspects are tested above the norms for sure. Freezing test, reliability, and shipping test. We ship it to and back from US to again Austria twice. Yeah, we do have why solar from perfect charging and perfect welding, because Fronius had a vision. We have a vision even today that it is possible to fill the energy need around the clock from the sun itself. That's our goal, like 24 hours of sun, supply all energy, like for transport or for buildings, heatings, everything, every aspect. We would like to use sun energy. Is it possible? Yes. We are one step closer to it. Probably you have heard about this Fronius Sol Hub, Fronius Solar Hydrogen. That's why it's H2, Sol H2 Hub. So we have this Sol Hub fully functioning and operating in Austria. It's in our own facility, and also we have a couple of systems sold to Italy. Probably if you have more questions and if you are interested, please feel free to contact me. I will get you the contact for the product manager if you'd like to have this Fronius hydrogen storage solution. Like the main idea is to harvest the excess PV production and send it to electrolyzer to split hydrogen and oxygen from water. And then you can store the hydrogen in the tanks, and you can reuse the hydrogen for probably transport, or if you wish, you can give it back to the fuel cell, and the fuel cell will give you the electricity and heat back from the hydrogen. So that's the idea, like storing excess PV for long term. And today it is like industrial level scale, but we are working on to scale it down, but you can multiply it on bigger scale today, but scaling down is not possible yet. So it's not an easy hand-on solution for a home, but definitely it's a solution for a small scale industries or a gas station or schools or things like that. But one day we believe in near future, we will bring it down, scale it down so that every residential can have a Fronius hydrogen storage solution. And coming to the Fronius inverter, snap inverter, probably you all know, or at least you heard about this snap inverter. Why we call them snap in? Because you can snap in the inverter to the wall bracket. The connection point on the wall bracket stays in the wall, and then you can just hook it the inverter part power stack and snap in to it. And there are one-phase inverters and three-phase inverters. One-phase, it's not our main focus because I don't think you use a single-phase in Sweden. But if you want, you know that we have a single-phase inverters as well. Yeah, coming to three-phase inverters, we have SIMO hybrid. This red color bottom cover, DATCOM cover. That's the hybrid inverter where you can put BYD or LG Chem batteries. And of course, many people raised questions with SIMO, like what do we do? Should we switch it from SIMO to SIMO hybrid to have a battery? But of course, they don't have to, it costs a lot if they have to swap or throw, they can't just throw this running SIMO to get a battery. So there is an option, just to let you know. You can connect solar watt batteries to this Fronius Primo or a SIMO and a Eco inverter. So we'll see it in detail in the upcoming slides, which are all capable of having watt batteries. To give just a brief introduction, we have SIMO hybrid. That's the hybrid inverter where you can connect a battery to it. And we also have this Fronius SIMO and Fronius Eco. These are all three-phase normal grid tie inverter. All of them are grid tie inverter. They are just a normal inverter where you cannot connect a battery except the solar watt batteries. Residential, we have two groups, like residential market and commercial market. Commercial means in Sweden, in Sweden we have even, I think there are some 20 megawatt parks going on. So we can't say Sweden is a small market but it's a growing market for commercial. But getting back to residential, Sweden is really, really interested in selling a lot of residential PV systems. It's growing, almost doubling every year. You all know about it, I'm sure. So SIMO or Primo, these are the residential inverter from 3 kilowatt to 8.2 kilowatt. What does this 3 means? That's a 3-phase. And S or M, the name S means a single MPP tracker, M means multiple MPP tracker. So next time when you see SIMO 8.2-3, yes, means it has only single MPP tracker. Many people do buy a M version, even though if they don't have two different roofs, or even though if they don't have a shading, they just buy M and they don't see the possibility. Please use our tool, our solar configurator tool wise, which can tell you which inverter suits you better for your needs. So you don't need a M version if you don't have a shade and if you don't have a 2 different tilt angle or 2 different roof. You just buy a single MPP tracker version. And yeah, SIMO 3 kilowatt, you can see wide product range 3, 3.7, 4.5 up to 8.2 kilowatt. Yeah, 1 or 2 MPP tracker. And SIMO is a 3-phase inverter, Primo is the single phase inverter. All of them are transformer-less inverters. We don't have a transformer inverter. We do have one Galvo, but you know, with the new RFG regulations, if you have already implemented new RFG regulation, you cannot use Galvo because of certain difficulties. It don't have certain functions which is demanded in the RFG EU regulations. But otherwise, you can use the SIMO or Primo. So the smallest, that means that the smallest inverter we have is 3 kilowatt inverter. Because if you consider Galvo is 1.5 kilowatt inverter. That's the only transformer inverter we had so far. But now it's not possible to install Galvo in certain countries. But it's, I think in Sweden, it's not yet implemented these new regulations, or at least we have time until 2021. But it depends on which grid owner you are connecting to. For example, LVO is already demanding, E.ON is working on its way, and Vattenfall is also working on its way to these new regulations. And to the hybrid, SIMO hybrid inverter, it's always a single MPP tracker, but single MPP tracker for the PV system. There are 2 MPP trackers inside. One has to be connected to the battery. So one MPP tracker is always dedicated for the battery system, and the other MPP tracker is for the PV systems. So SIMO hybrid means always a single MPP tracker inverter. You have 3, 4, and 5 kilowatt inverter. And I know many countries like Sweden, Denmark, or mostly Scandinavians and other European countries have big electrical consumptions. So 5 kilowatt is too small for them. That's why we have a SIMO 24 Plus. We see it in the upcoming slides. That's a bigger hybrid inverter where you can connect batteries up to, like the batteries up to 22 kilowatt hour, and the output power of those inverters, SIMO 24 is up to 10 kilowatt. We'll see that in the slides, upcoming slides. Snap inverter commercial. Just a second. Hi, Tim.
Yeah, are you?
Is it? Sorry, I thought I haven't started the recordings.
No,
do you know?
I have started it. It's
okay. It's still recording. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I just got to remember that if the video is recording or not.
Yeah, we actually had a question from the chat, so we can take it.
Yes, please.
What's the efficiency referring to? What load and which conditions? I think
the efficiency
here and 98.3. What are they referring to?
They are the Central European efficiency with the standard test conditions and giving the fullest DC power. I mean, like in reality, you can achieve up to 98.1. It's not the highest, it says highest efficiency, but that's the maximum Central European efficiency.
Yeah, and that's basically a weighted average of different conditions. So
yes.
It's high load, mid load, and high load.
Yes. Yeah. Based on different loads, you can get this efficiency. That's right.
You could basically see it as those cycles when you're testing a car. You're not only driving it in 50 kilometers per hour straight forward. You're having a specific cycle that you're testing, and that's the same here.
Yes, sorry that I mentioned it's at the standard test conditions, but of course they are tested under the standard conditions, but they are tested on different loads.
Yeah.
Like when it is producing its minimum power or the mid power ranges. Like for example, for SIMO 10, it can be we tested like 2 kilowatt or 1 kilowatt or 500 watt or what is it up to 10 kilowatt, something like that. But sometimes I can see it in the display, it shows even more than 10 kilowatt in the SIMO 10 kilowatt inverter, but it does happen, but we haven't cleared it from our R&D if we can tell that it's producing more than its power, but sometimes I notice it a little bit more. That's a different technical question, but to answer your question here, it's a weighted average efficiency.
Perfect.
Yeah, and snap inverter commercial, SIMO 10 kilowatt, because we see that many people use this for bigger projects, like SIMO 20 kilowatt in Sweden is the most sold. Also, there are eco inverters. There is a reason why we call eco. It's economical or ecological, you can say, both. So if you see, there are the SIMO, this is the M version, or eco is the S version. That's one main difference. Like you can have a multiple Mpp trackers in a SIMO 20 kilowatt inverter, but in the Eco 25 and 27 kilowatt inverter, there are only one Mpp tracker. And what is the other major difference is that minimum input voltage. You can have a short string in SIMO 20 or SIMO 10 inverter because the minimum input voltage needed for this inverter is 200 volt DC. But if you see this Eco inverter, minimum input voltage is 580 volt DC. Why? Because there is a booster in this SIMO inverter. That's why you can even have like 4 panels in a string and connect it to the second Mpp tracker and it can run. Like 4 panel in the sense, if you can meet this 200 volt DC from 4 panels, of course 4 or maybe 5 or 6 panels. It depends. So minimum input voltage needed is 200 volt. If you can give them in a string, then you can run this inverter. But here it's not possible because we don't have a booster. So you have to give all the intermediate circuit voltage needed by the inverter from the DC itself. That's the main difference. That's why Eco is lighter and even with a better efficiency, and also even it's probably cheaper than SIMO 20. And both of them are IP66 protection class. But the major difference is, as I mentioned, it's 2 Mpp trackers and a single Mpp tracker and the minimum input voltage, because this is designed for multi-phase roof or shading condition, for example. You can split the shaded panels or possibly shaded panels and connect it to the second Mpp tracker. And sometimes if you have chimney or something, then it's going to shade like 6 to 8 panels or 10 panels, then you can collect this in one string and connect them to the second Mpp tracker. And that's why we have designed this with a minimum input voltage of 200 watt. But here we thought people, when you use Eco, it's going to be mostly a single phase roof or it can be sometimes a ground mounting. So most of the times we don't expect there is a need for a second Mpp tracker here, or there is a short strings panels with short strings here. So a startup procedure for all these inverters, just 4 steps, or maybe 5 steps. Choose the language. Sorry, we still don't have Swedish language, I think, but we are changing or working on that. But I hope most of the time you can, most of the installers, you are Sweden, we're very good with English, so I don't think you have any problem. But still, we want to facilitate with Swedish as soon as possible. Choose language, English, and then you choose country setup. Probably, I think it's only one Swedish country setup so far because there is no need for a second one. But yeah, so choose Swedish country setup or if there is a need in future, maybe you will have 2 or 3 country setups like Denmark or Germany. Depends on the size of the plant. But as of now, it's only Swedish. One country setup for Swedish. And then set the time, date, and then most of the time people forget this step 5, or they just skip or keep the Mpp Tracker 2 on. Please do remember to turn off this Mpp Tracker 2. Most of the time, as soon as I joined Fronius, I hear most of the time people come with this question, like sometimes I don't know if it is the end customer or not a proper installer, they just turn it on even though they don't have any PV connected to the second Mpp Tracker. They just turn on this Mpp Tracker 2 and then it keeps showing the error code missing DC because there is no DC connected to the second Mpp Tracker. So please do turn off the Mpp Tracker 2 if you don't have any inputs connected to the second Mpp Tracker. And as you know, you can reset, re-enter this if you choose a wrong country setup or wrong date time. Between this process, you can just restart the AC so that it will start up again with this choosing language. Or if you go through all the setups fully, still if you know that you have chosen a wrong country or wrong language or something, you can always reset it by using a code. You can get this code from tech support. There is a code which helps you to reset the country setup or restart the commissioning process. But one thing you can't change is that the production hours in the inverter. That's not possible to reset. And getting to the warranty, it's very, very important to register the inverters in SolarWeb. Remember, monitoring the inverter in SolarWeb is a different process, but registering is a different thing. Sometimes I also see this, people commission the monitoring, but still they forget to register the inverter for warranty. It's important that you know when you take an inverter out of the box, it only has 2 years of warranty plus, as you can see in this picture. Just 2 years. But then while registering in the SolarWeb, you have to choose between 3 or 5 years of warranty. Why 3 or 5 years? Because this 3 years is warranty plus, and this, if you go for this 5 years, it's only warranty. Difference between warranty plus and warranty is mentioned here clearly, that warranty plus covers the cost of material, servicing, and transport cost. Warranty only covers the material cost. So you can choose between 3 years of full warranty or just 5 years of material warranty. It is very important if you log into, I will show you when I open the SolarWeb, I will show you where to register the products. On the top right corner, you can see registration button where you have to register. Even if the inverter is not monitored in SolarWeb, it doesn't matter, or if the customer don't have a SolarWeb account, it doesn't matter. You as an installer can do this for your customer. Just put the serial number of the inverter and choose between 3 or 5 years of warranty. You don't have to pay anything for this, but you have to do this registration. And also if the customer wish to buy more than this, you can also extend it in the website. Of course, there is a difference in the price if the customer do and you do. That's a different topic. Fronius storage solutions. As I mentioned, this red color is meant for this battery connected inverters. The red bottom cover, that's the only differentiation by visual. Of course, there is a sticker mentioning SIMA hybrid, but instead of normal gray covers, we have this red cover only for the hybrid inverters where you can connect batteries. They are 3, 4, and 5 kilowatt 3-phase inverter, and they are single Mpp tracker, and because the other Mpp tracker is dedicated for the battery. And there is a backup power mode option available, which means that when there is a grid failure, this inverter will start and run, and it can supply you the power if you have installed the emergency power switch. And you can connect a LG Chem and BYD battery. So far, probably many of you installed Fronius batteries, but we have to discontinue it from last year, I think, because they are produced by Sony for Fronius, and Sony decided to stop that battery. So that's why you can't have this battery anymore. Sorry for that. But LG Chem and BYD, definitely they are going good. And also I know that many installations in Sweden have these LGChem and BYD batteries. Single line diagram of this. Just important things about this SIMO hybrid is that when you have a normal inverter, it depends. You don't need to have a smart meter, but when you want to have a SIMO hybrid connected to a battery, definitely you need a smart meter, because this is telling you when to charge and discharge the batteries. So the important thing for a hybrid inverter is this hybrid inverter itself, and then the Fronius smart meter, and then the battery. For LG Chem, you need an additional component that's called Fronius checkbox, because this is checking the voltage from the inverter. Since the LG Chem batteries cannot handle more than 500 volt, it checks the DC coming from the inverter. Of course, not all the time it's going to send out the 500 volt, but in case by accidentally if it sends 500 volt, we don't want to damage the battery. That's why we have this checkbox. It will disconnect the battery if there is a voltage, high voltage. And apart from that, the other important thing is that sometimes I see installers, some installers or some new installers just connect the cabling, like a battery to inverter cabling, but they forget the Modbus cabling. Or sometimes they do the Modbus cabling and the cabling, but they forgot to turn on the interface page. By default, this inverter will not know if you have a battery connected or not. So you have to access the interface page of the data manager, and you have to turn on the battery. That's when the inverter knows there is a battery. Otherwise, you can connect the battery to this inverter, and if the Modbus connection, if the cabling is correct, then the battery will start discharging, but it will never charge unless you tell the inverter there is a battery is connected. So it's the same with the BYD, or there is a video in Fronius Solar. That's our YouTube channel where you can watch how to do commissioning of LG Chem batteries or BYD batteries with SIMO hybrid. It is explained clearly. Many times I recommend installers, when they have their first experience for installing these batteries, I always recommend, okay, to go and watch these YouTube videos. It's clearly explained. Or if they still have some difficulties, they can always reach us or the new Swedish technical advisors. They can help you with one or two first commissionings. They can accompany you to the site and help you to commission it. But it depends on their availability, of course. If they are not readily available, you have to wait. So, yeah. Getting back to the BYD box, it's same, but you don't you don't have a checkbox for the BYD. So here the three major components are SIMO hybrid, Fronius smart meter, and the BYD batteries. One thing you can see here is that there is no emergency switch, because with LG Chem battery you cannot have an emergency power option. But if you have a BYD batteries, you can have an emergency power switch installed, and that's we have a circuit diagram for this switch, or you can buy a pre-designed switch that's called NVTech. That's a German manufacturer who produce the predefined box with the relays and everything. You can just plug-in type, you can buy them and install it. When you install that, whenever there is a grid failure, the smart meter tells the inverter there is no grid, and then the inverter commands the switch to disconnect the whole load from the grid. Then the inverter will restart in emergency power mode, and it can supply to the load from battery. Or if you have a PV power, if it is a daytime, if you can produce, it will produce and supply the load, and also it can charge the battery during this emergency power function. But remember, this is only possible with the SIMO hybrid and BYD battery. And also this PV generator, this means like if you have any other, it doesn't have to be a Fronius inverter. If you have any other inverter, any other PV already installed in your site, still you can connect them to on the AC side. You can just tell the interface page that there is an additional producer installed in this house. Then the inverter will know that it can expect some more PV power or some more produced power from from the other producers so that it will charge the battery with the other producer. But this is possible with the LG as well. Sorry that I forgot to mention this here. So if you have a secondary producer, you can always mention this to the SIMO hybrid interface page so that the inverter will charge from the other inverter to the battery from the AC side.
Vinoth, we have a question in the chat.
Yes,
does the
please.
inverter of the battery provide the 50 hertz, or how does that work?
You mean in the emergency power mode?
Yeah.
Okay, to give you more detail, no, that's not 50 hertz. It's something around 52.5 or 53. When I say emergency power mode, remember I mentioned that when there is no grid, the inverter will restart in emergency mode. That's a secondary country setup. So in this emergency mode, inverter will produce in a different hertz. So that's why you cannot have a secondary producer involved during the emergency mode, because this inverter need 50 hertz to start and run, but this inverter will produce 53. If it is for example, for countries like Sweden, it's a normal grid is 50 hertz. So this emergency mode for this Sweden is like 53 hertz or something like that. But for countries like 60 hertz countries, the inverter will start up in 63 hertz in the emergency mode. So it's not the same frequency like a normal grid.
Yeah, and that's basically to make the inverter be able to listen to the grid and see if it's something else is 50 hertz in the emergency mode, then you know that either you're connected to the grid or that you have another inverter connected, which you're not allowed to. So
yes,
it's basically a self-check to change the frequency.
Yeah, exactly. That's a self-check. So you can't go wrong here. So it will not supply other inverters, or it will not allow any other thing in that mode. Also, if there is accidentally a grid, there is no accidents because that's the fail check. So it's a different frequency. So if there is a grid, then definitely it has to turn off, and then it will enable the switch again, and then it will restart in the 50 hertz normal mode. So that's a fail-proof method to use. Yeah, I hope this answers the question. And one thing I forgot to mention is that many times people ask, how long can I run this inverter without a grid? It's 15 femton percentage of time it can run without a grid. So what happens if you exceed that limit? For example, if you use this inverter for 10 days, out of these 10 days, like I cannot say in days, but like 100 hours, out of 100 hours, you can use this inverter without a grid for 15 hours. If you want to use this more than that time, of course it will run, it will work, but definitely we will not support that situation. It will be out of warranty. It will not fail, it will not break right after you are exceeding this 15% limit, but definitely it will decrease the lifetime of the inverter. That's why we say we won't guarantee, because I had a customer who was asking me yesterday or last week that if he can use this for first 6 months without a grid, and then later he is gonna get a grid to his home. The thing is, like, first thing is that this is not off-grid inverter. First, to start this inverter, you need a grid. Without a grid, this inverter will not start up at all. So this emergency mode, to run emergency mode, for sure you need a grid. First, you need to supply a grid, and then the inverter will start. And then if you disconnect the grid, then the inverter will restart in emergency mode. So that's the first hindrance he had. And the second thing is, if you manage to do this, fake this grid or something, still you can run, but we do not support this function. Because when you run this inverter without a grid for full time, this inverter is taking it like too much heat. Like heat in the sense, not this thermal heat, but like you are pushing this overloading this inverter for a long time. That will definitely reduce its lifetime. Then you cannot expect this inverter for 15 or 20 years to run.
So it's basically what it says it is. It's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
It's working both on grid and off grid, but
exactly, not fully off grid. It works without when the grid fails, it works, but it doesn't work without a grid.
I also think it's nice to mention that if you want to to build a fully off-grid system, then you have a possibility to do it with Victron energy with Fronius.
Exactly.
And I think that you have a specific webinar on that. So I think that people that are more interested in off-grid applications and smaller microgrids are definitely welcome to contact us, and then we could point you more in a more advanced training. I don't think that will be the topic for today.
Yes, that's right. As Tim mentioned, we do have a off-grid solution, but not just with Fronius inverters, but also Fronius together with Victron. It is possible to have off-grid, and also there are options for diesel genset solutions, like you can combine diesel generators together with this PV system to get the best out of it. That's also possible with the Fronius PV genset solution, and together with the DAVE. It's possible to connect a single diesel generator or multiple diesel generator to Fronius inverters. And there is a webinar available for diesel generators or off-grid solutions in our Fronius Solar YouTube channel. You can watch it, or you can reach Tim or me for if you have more questions in that direction. We can help you with that. But yeah, here it's on-grid inverter. It can also run when the grid fails. And as I mentioned, is there any battery for Fronius Simo, Primo, and Galvo inverters or Eco inverter? Yes, there is one option, solar watt batteries, MyReserve metrics. There is a certificate available from our website. It shows what is possible to do with solar watt battery. Also, there is a webinar for this available for all the topics which I'm talking now. There is a detailed webinar available in Fronius Solar website, or if there is a topic, if you can't find the webinar, you can always contact Tim or me so that we can arrange a new webinar or detailed webinar in those topics. But hopefully, I think there are webinars for everything like Home Pilot or electric vehicle charging or batteries, solar watt batteries or BYD batteries or LG Chem batteries, everything. Coming back to solar watt batteries here, if you want to have a solar watt battery installed, just to give you a brief info, you need 4 components. Mainly, yes, the inverter, of course, Fronius Simo or Primo Galvo, and the battery itself, solar watt battery, and Fronius smart meter, and then Fronius solar watt AC sensors. So this is very important if you are connecting a solar watt battery, because here the solar watt AC sensor communicates to the battery when it has to charge or discharge the DC power. So these batteries are installed between the PV module and the Fronius inverter, so that this stores the excess DC when there is no need for PV to produce. Then it will store the excess power in the DC battery, and then whenever the inverter needs to produce to its fullest, and if it doesn't get it from the PV module, then it will supply DC from the battery to the inverter. Of course, you cannot exceed the maximum limit of the Simo. For example, if you have a Simo 5 kilowatt inverter, you can expect maximum 5 kilowatt output at a time. Just because you have a bigger battery, like 20 kilowatt hour battery, you cannot expect more output power. So if you want to have bigger output power, then definitely you have to go for a bigger inverter. So this is a DC battery directly connected between the PV and the inverter. And one major difference I forgot to mention about this solar watt battery is that, except for LG and BYD batteries, you can monitor the state of charge of battery in Fronius SolarWeb. But if you have a solar watt battery, it is not possible to see the state of charge in SolarWeb. You will only see that there is a production of the inverter, but not where it is coming from. You can't see if it is coming from PV or battery, or that you have to see it in the solar watt monitoring portal. And new heroes. So here we have this Fronius Gen 24 Plus. It is from 3 kilowatt to 10 kilowatt, but why 3 kilowatt? Because we already have a Simo hybrid. Then why again we mentioned 3 kilowatt here? That's for Primo Gen 24. So basically we have 2 different Gen 24 Plus inverters. One is Primo Gen 24 and the other is Simo Gen 24. Again, that Primo Gen 24 is not our interest because that's a single phase inverter. Simo Gen 24 Plus is the 3 kilowatt three phase inverter with the power class 6, 8, and 10 kilowatt. So what are the advantages? What do we learn from the Simo hybrid? What are the improvements? One, we learned that there is a need for bigger power class hybrid inverters. And next, we learned that we need 2 Mpp trackers for the PV itself. So in this inverter, in total, we have 3 Mpp trackers, 1 for the battery and 2 for the PV. So 2 Mpp trackers dedicated for PV. So you can connect 2 different roofs, or you can connect different shading panels into a second Mpp tracker, or whatever you think. And then there is no display. No display in this inverter. Of course, we in this modern world, everything is changing. We have displays everywhere, like mobile phones or tab, and even Apple Watches or something. So we thought we don't need a display for the inverter. So this Simo Gen 24 and Primo Gen 24 inverter don't have a display. So we think it helps with better efficiency without a display, and it's our R&D decision. And yeah, if you have any feedback, please feel free to give it to me. Then I will send it to R&D. And then without a display, how do we commission? Of course, there is a touch button, infrared button in the center of the inverter. If you touch it, you can activate the communication between your mobile phone or tab to this inverter, and then you can monitor. Or you can commission it, and then fully you can monitor from remotely from your tab using SolarWeb. So if you don't want to put it online, you can simply just tap the inverter every time, and then you can establish a communication between your mobile phone or a tab to the inverter instantly, and then you can access the production data and everything. Or if you want, you can commission the full monitoring through the SolarWeb, then you can monitor it from remotely as well. So from this version, it's definitely a need for commissioning, and also choosing country setup and everything that's going to be done by your mobile phone. As soon as you go near to the inverter and just tap the center button, then it will ask if you install this Fronius SolarWeb or Fronius commissioning app in your mobile phone, then it will tell you how to proceed with choosing country or language and different setups, like as usual commissioning procedures. But there is a separate webinar for this Gen 24 commissioning, and there will be a manual available towards the release of the inverter. You know how to commission this, or you can always reach Tim or me or the new Swedish colleagues who can help you with commissioning. If you have 1 or 2 first commissionings, we can definitely come and assist you on site without any problem. And there is 2 other points which I want to mention here. PV point and full backup, that's one big advancement. If you remember the emergency backup power, that's possible when you have a battery, but there's something else available, some basic PV points. We'll see that in detail in the upcoming slides. Yeah, I mentioned that Simo Gen 24 Plus is a 6, 8, and 10 kilowatt. Easy planning, installation, and commissioning. Because with this, because we have been testing this commissioning specially, mainly for the it has to be easy setup, easy user-friendly thing. So the commissioning procedure is like step-by-step thing, like as I should do it with the display, like choosing language, choosing country, choosing if you want to keep the Mpp Tracker 2 on or off, like that. It's the same thing, but without a display. As soon as you establish a connection between your smartphone or a tab to the inverter, you will choose everything in the phone or the tab. Just the same procedure, except there is no display in the inverter. And as I mentioned, it's more flexible hybrid inverter because we have 2 Mpp trackers for the PV itself. And there are 2 different kind of emergency power modes. One is called the PV point, and the other is full backup power. And we will see more detail about about these things in the next slides. And the maximum DC voltage is, as usual, it's 1000 volt DC, and IP protection class is 1066 IP66. PV point. This is a basic backup power. It is possible to have a PV point in all the Simogen 24 inverters. So there is an option on the AC side. Next to the AC connections, there is an option, there is a plug available where you can take a single phase output. So that's a single phase output, and you can create a plug point anywhere in your house or in your garage. So this plug point will work when there is no grid. There is no additional switching components needed for this. It has, as I mentioned, it has its own terminal in the inverter. And this is functionable without a battery as well. And also, of course, it will work with the battery, but maybe sometimes when it comes to hybrid inverters, people are preparing for the future. They just buy the hybrid inverter, but they don't have a battery for 2-3 years. Still, they can use this PV function, a PV point function without a battery. How it works. This is the single line diagram. So PV generator like PV panels and Simogen 24 plus and battery, that's optional. When there is no grid, still this PV generator will produce and supply only the PV point. Remember, not the normal output point, because without a grid, the normal output power will not work. So basically the inverter will produce and just supply one single phase point. And there is a limitation. You can't have like 10 kilowatt in this PV point. It's only possible 3 kilowatt. What happens if it exceed? Of course, it will turn off. When you overload more than that, if you try to connect a 5 kilowatt motor to this PV point, of course, it will not start up. So it's a 3 kilowatt single phase and maximum 13 amps. Of course, if you exceed that a little bit, it can withstand for a couple of seconds, but it cannot run fully. So you cannot, why I'm mentioning is that you cannot turn on big loads like a motor or something in this PV point. Of course, if you have a battery, you can charge the battery, PV generator can charge the battery, and the PV point can work. Remember, with this, it's not a full backup power, so you cannot supply the whole load yet. So you can charge the battery or you can supply the PV point, and the battery, if you don't have the sun, the battery can also supply the PV point, but you cannot supply the load yet. So that's the basic PV point, because you don't have to install any other external components or anything else. If you want to have a full backup power, of course, when you have a battery, it's wise to make a full backup power so that you can enjoy the full. Why should you only use PV point when you have a battery? Of course, you can have an emergency power switch installed, like NVTech switch, as I mentioned. Then you can have this full backup power. Remember, it's not an uninterrupted power supply, because sometimes people ask how fast it can switch. Of course, I can tell you, like, the automatic switchover is less than 90 seconds. So it's not an uninterrupted power supply, but still it's good to have something, because sometimes when you have remote places, if there is some problem with the grid, maybe it takes a couple of days or up to a week to fix it. But when you have a Simogen 24 and the emergency power switch installed, you can enjoy the power, full backup power. And here, in this case, full backup power, you can supply the whole load, so you don't have to worry about this single phase or 3-phase loads. Like there is a small picture showing how it works. Like when you have a battery and a backup switch installed, you can have this full backup power. Like when the grid fails, it's the same concept like a Simo hybrid. When the grid fails, the smart meter tells the inverter that there is no grid, and then the inverter will disconnect the load, whole home, from the grid, and then it will restart in an emergency power mode. Then it can charge the battery, or you can supply the load. Also, you can supply from the battery to the load. That's possible. So multi-flow technology will work. Same as when it works with the grid. The components here is like battery and the disconnector. Like as I mentioned, this NVTech box, they are a German manufacturer. They supply the predefined relays and everything. So it's a plug and play type. If you buy this box, it's easy. Or of course you can do your own emergency switch with the relays. There is a circuit diagram available for SIMO hybrid. Soon you will get the circuit diagram for the Gen 24 Plus, SIMO Gen 24 Plus as well. And this backup power is supplied up to 10 kilowatt. Why? Because the output power of the inverter is maximum 10 kilowatt. So you can't expect more than that. And same here, allowed runtime in the backup mode is 15% of its operating time. So I forgot to mention one thing. How do we handle this? It's not a problem until the inverter get into a problem. When there is something goes wrong, first thing we check, or our tech support team check with this inverter, is how long it has run in the normal mode and the off-grid mode. We can see this information in the interface page. You can also see this information in the interface page, just to let you know. So that's how it works. Like, it doesn't fail immediately, but if you put it in off-grid for a long time, it can fail or it may fail. It's up to you. And getting back to the batteries, what kind of batteries are possible to connect with Fronius SIMO Gen 24? So far, by today, it's only BYD battery, both BYD HVS and HVM batteries. There is a separate link in our Fronius front page, which shows which batteries or exactly which battery groups are possible to work with which inverters. You can see this overview in our website better. So for those who may not know these BYD batteries, they are normal lithium iron phosphate batteries. And there are two different groups, HVS modules and HVM modules. One is from 5 kilowatt to 10.2 kilowatt hour, and the other is 11 to 22 kilowatt hour. So that's the maximum output power or battery storage power capacity available today. But maybe in future we will come back with a different solution. Maybe we can let you install more battery stacks. So as of now, it's only possible to have 8 modules of these HVM batteries or 4 modules of the HVS batteries. Maybe in future we can change this so that we can achieve a bigger or a higher storage power. And these battery modules are retrofittable. For example, you can start with only 4 modules today, and then later you can add more HVM modules so that you can increase your storage capacity. But you cannot mix it with the HVS and HVM batteries. If you start with HVS, you have to go with HVS. Or if you start with HVM, you have to go with HVM batteries. But both are possible to install it, but you cannot mix and install it. Fronius SolarWeb. Why do we need SolarWeb? One thing, to monitor how the inverter function, and other thing is that for an installer, why is it important? Because you can already analyze if the inverter is performing well or not. You can compare, for example, or if there is a fault, you can see it in the, you can get notified proactively so that when the customer contact you, you know that what is the fault or why is it not performing as it should. So this is an analyzing and monitoring tool for customers and also for you as an installer. What is the advantage? Advantage in having a premium, because we have 2 membership in the SolarWeb. There are like a basic user and premium user. Maybe end customer don't need a premium function, but as an installer, definitely you need a premium function because it has a lot of values. I would like to show you a real demo with the SolarWeb, because when we open the SolarWeb, we can see what is the difference between normal user and a premium user in every pages, for example. So I just open the browser and then I choose SolarWeb.com and I choose it from my bookmark. But it's, if you want to reach here, just SolarWeb.com, Fronius.solarweb.com. And I'm using my credential to enter. So when you log in, as I promised earlier, if you see this on the top right corner, you have this product registration. So if you want to register and extend the warranty of your customer's inverter, you just have to click here, and then you have to add register product. You can enter the serial number, you can choose the installation date, and choose the country. If you type in your company name, you can find it. Here, Senage is mentioned as an installer as well. So if you can't find your name here, for example, let's say like this, then if you type some random letters, it will show the button called Add New Installer. Or for example, let me use like Vinoth AB. No, it's not available. So I can just click Add New Installer, and then I can choose the country. So I can just simply enter the zip code and city and name of my company. If I click OK, from now on, I can see my company listed here. I don't want to create a fake account, so I just click cancel. So in case if you don't find your company name here, you don't have to worry. You just add new installer. If you type if you can't find here, you can use this button to add your. So serial number, installation date, country, and name of your company. Additional info, maybe you can choose the customer name or customer street address or whatever you want. And then if you click register, it will take you to the next page where you can choose between 5 years, like +3 years or +5 years. Or if you would like to buy more, you can buy more. That's the registration. And regarding the normal and the premium member, for example, if you go to any PV system, as a premium member, I can activate prediction, like expected yield for one system. So if you become a premium member, you cannot activate this premium function for all your system, but you can do this for only one system. So if a customer wants to know how much he is going to produce today or tomorrow, he needs to have a premium function. For example, like in the overview page, you can see, okay, today he is going to produce 50 kilowatt based on the weather data. So that's why it's very important to enter when you create a PV system, it's very important to enter the customer address, not your address. Like when you create a PV system, it will ask you to enter the street address and the city name and zip code, everything. So if you go to energy balance, you can see more detailed view, how much he can expect today. For example, based on the weather data, this is the forecast for his PV production for today and tomorrow. Maybe based on this, he can swap his 1 or 2 of his load so that he can consume optimally. That's one advantage. And if you go to more, for example, if you go to energy balance, if you want to see how much I'm producing every minute, for example, if I go back yesterday, I can see every 5 minutes how much I produced or how much I sent to battery, things like that. As a basic user, I can only go back in a detailed view for only 2 days in the past. If I go back more than 2 days in the past, I cannot see this if I'm not a premium user. Of course, you can see monthly view, you can see like a total production of a day. As a basic user for any number of time, that's not a problem. But if you want to choose a detailed view, definitely you have to be a premium user. Why? Because it takes a lot of storage for us to maintain these data, like more detailed views and everything. We need more space. We have to improve our cloud. So we have to invest a lot of money here. So that's why we are charging our customers to become a premium user. Of course, most of the time, end customer don't have to be a premium user, but it depends on him. But definitely as an installer, I will recommend you a premium user to become a premium user so that you can have these facilities, or for example, like analysis. Also, as an installer, you can choose devices. For example, if there is a problem, if you receive a call from a customer and say that, okay, I have a problem, you can see, okay, how much, for example, here, as a premium user, you can see how much power came from the battery or goes from grid, or how much is going to battery, things like that. It's only possible for the premium users. As a basic user, customer can see how much power or how much DC current or DC voltage or how much total power. This is possible for all the users, but to go more detail about the batteries and everything, because this needs more data. So of course, here also it's only possible to go back in 1 or 2 days in the past. If you want to go more than that, you have to be a premium user. So anything which has to do with the detailed views, you have to be a premium user. Otherwise, there is not much big difference to change, like for example, to update an inverter. For example, if you go to components, you can update your inverter. There you don't have to be a premium user. You can simply go here, but I can see this is updated, fully updated, up to date. Normally you see a red button here with the column saying update. So if the inverter, you can do this update remotely. And what else? For example, if you go to collect some reports, you can set automatic reports, or you can download a report, how much I'm producing. For example, click create a report. If you want to see how much you are producing in an Excel file, you don't have to be a premium user. You can simply do this. But as a premium user, you can see more detailed values. Not just a daily sum, you can see more detailed values. As a normal user, you can just go and create a PV production. It can be automatic. For example, if you choose automatic report and choose weekly, then every week, this customer will receive a report with how much he has produced on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, something like that. But it will give only the detailed value. If you, as a premium user, you can go and you can choose more detailed values. Or it can be daily sums, it depends. But if you go for detailed values, you can see how much he produced every 5 minutes. And you can choose between like different functions, like how much voltage. This is not useful for just monitoring, but for troubleshooting, definitely it's useful. You can see how much if there is any voltage dips or something, whatever, you can see it here. So who will receive the reports if I set it here? Like for example, let's say custom report, and let's say current, AC current and DC current, just for example. And I choose automatic report and weekly. And if I set it now here, okay, who will receive this report? The owner of the PV system, because you have to go to settings and you can see it in the contacts, who will receive the reports, who else will receive the reports. For example, you can add as many people here. For example, if you add, for example, my email address. And then I can choose, whenever you add a contact, you can choose who is this customer, if he is interested in receive the service message, or if he is interested to receive the reports. It depends. So I'm interested to receive the reports here. So test email has been sent. Okay, thank you. So from now on, if there is automatic report setup, I will receive the reports. So like this, you can add multiple customers to one systems. So whoever mentioned here will receive a report. Here, these guys are now receiving the service messages, for example. I'll just remove it so that, yeah. And other thing is like, mainly there are two views. This is the general overview. Here we will have this analysis, energy balance, reports, service messages, settings. Here you can analyze the output. You can see which AC, how much is the AC voltage or DC voltage or DC power. So this is mainly for troubleshooting. For example, if you go here, you can see the current power, like how much I'm producing now. Or if you go to history, you can see much more detailed views, as I mentioned before. Otherwise, if you go to energy balance, you can see the PV production, how much I'm produced and how much I'm sending to battery, how much I'm consuming directly, things like that. And also you can see the consumption. Of course, this is possible only with the smart meter. If you have a system with a smart meter, you can see the consumption. Otherwise, you won't see this, but this is a hybrid inverter, so we have a smart meter. If you don't have a smart meter, you can see it even in the overview page. You will not see these four circles here. You will only see this one diagram. You can only see how much you are producing. But when you have a smart meter, you can see how much you are producing, how much you are sending to the load, how much you are sending to the grid, how much you are sending to the battery. So, and the report, as I mentioned, you can create a report like a daily or monthly or weekly report based on the customer need. You can get a whole PV production, or you can create a customized report with the detailed values, like every 5-minute values. Or in the service message, you will find all the service message. When someone calls like with a problem, you can choose. It will show all the systems, all the PV systems I have in my SolarWeb account. So you can choose which system you are interested in. Okay, I'm interested in this system. You can choose different ranges like last 7 days or last 30 days. There is no error message. Things like that. And settings, if you go to settings, that's the next level. So basically in the front page, you will have all the basic functions which you need. These are the information, or troubleshooting page, but these are the things where you have to do some, for example, if you want to change the PV system profile, for example, country, time zone, or like installation date, things like that. This is the address location of the PV system. Based on this address only, in the front page, you can see the expected forecast, like PV production forecast. And for example, yeah, you can add more contacts. If someone is interested in receive a service message, you can add them, their email address here. Under the components, you can see home pilot or a smart meter or data manager, etc. So
we
here
have a
we will.
question about that, Vinoth.
Yes.
Can you explain some more about the load management systems that you offer, and do them have an integration towards an energy management system or smart home system?
Yeah, actually, I have this in the upcoming slides, but can it wait? I think I have slides.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. To answer direct now, we have Modbus RTU, so anyone, any control systems who's using, who can collect data from Modbus RTU can collect from Fronius inverter, and then you can control the inverter. Or we are cooperating with the Luxon mini server. That's one solution from Germany or Austria, I think. So that's, we are cooperating with them. If anyone is interested in smart home, they can use a Luxon mini server. That's the direct cooperation between Fronius and Luxon. So, or of course, many people with CNET and other control systems for smart homes also communicating with Fronius inverters, but they are using Modbus RTU functions. I'll show it in the next slides about the load management function. But to quickly wind up here, that's the components page where you can update the inverter and permission. For example, these many guys, because it's our Fronius own system, so many people has this permission. Sorry for a big Q. So you can make someone as a supervisor or a guest to your PV system. If you click add, then you can add any SolarWeb user and make him as a supervisor or make him as a guest, so that they can see this PV system in their SolarWeb account. And tariffs, you can add how much money you are paying, or for the reference tariff or the feed-in tariffs, so that we can calculate in the front page, it will show how much you have earned. And change owner, of course, only owner of the PV system can change a owner. But in this case, this guy is the owner of this PV system. If I enter my, I don't have a permission, because only a current owner can change this ownership. For example, if I enter anything, it will deny. So this is asking if I want to give this keep permission for the current user. Yes, I would like to keep the permission as a supervisor for the current user. Most of the time, installer create this PV system under their email address, under their SolarWeb account, and then later they ask the end customer to create a SolarWeb account. Then they give the rights. At the time, you have to go to this change owner, and you enter the customer's email address, and then you keep yourself as a supervisor, and then you can queue change owner. Right now, I cannot do this because only a current owner can change the owner of any PV system. So if Lasati Andreas log into his account, he can do this for me. He can make me as a owner, and then he will become a supervisor. So this is what you are going to do for your customer. And deleting a PV system, of course, it's possible only by the owner of the system. This is the brief info about Fronius SolarWeb. Just play around with it, create your own account and play around with it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach me, or our tech support team will help you. Yeah. Getting back to SolarWeb. I hope you enjoyed the small tour in the Fronius SolarWeb Live, because yeah, I'm not a big fan of these slides, so I just took you to the small tour. So there are multiple things like updating a PV system remotely. That's possible. Monitoring with the yield forecast for 48 hours. Of course, you can do multiple simulations. For example, you can simulate home pilot. You can simulate and see how much, sorry, I forgot to mention this. You can simulate and see how much he is going to save when he install a home pilot. For example, let's take this system, and then he can go to analysis.
And for the people who don't know what an ohm pilot is, can you short explain what it is?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's there in the upcoming slides. But the ohm pilot is a device that can control your excess production and send to the heating rods. You can use any infrared heating or floor heatings or anything, or hot water tanks. So you can connect your ohmic loads, like resistive loads, to this ohm pilot. So the excess production will be sent to the heating system directly. For example, okay, I think it's wise to explain about ohm pilot first before I show this simulation. So going back here, Fronius smart meter. Of course, you need a smart meter for two things: to monitor your consumption. Why do I need to monitor my consumption? For example, if you monitor your consumption, you know that today Sweden is paying, you are getting some money for feeding in some energy to the grid, but maybe change in future. At the time, you will be interested in consuming your own energy, not sending to grid. For example, in Denmark, they don't get any money for sending to grid. So purely if this system is installed in Denmark today, he is really losing a lot of energy here. If you see this gray, this is the consumption, it's his own consumption, and this black line is the PV production. So at this place, he is producing a lot of energy, but he is sending to grid. He is consuming very low. But if you see in the early morning, he is consuming a lot of energy from the grid. So this is purely waste of money. So he can switch this load to this region so that he consume all his production, not from grid. Or maybe he can say that, okay, I need this energy by 6 o'clock. Well, you can heat it, you can do this here, and then you can keep the heat. Or at least you can switch these loads. For example, instead of doing this load here at 6 o'clock, if he does it at 4 o'clock, he can use his own energy. So that's why you need a smart meter. So we have a single phase smart meter and a 3-phase 63 amps and 50 Ka3. That's for the bigger systems. You need a current sensors for this if you want to use this. And most of the time, this is the residential or most sold smart meter they use. You can install them before the utility meter. So that's called feed-in path, so that you can measure whole consumption of your home and the whole export to the grid. Or you can put an additional smart meter here, and then you can measure only what your particular load consumes. And of course, you have to activate this in our web page telling that you have a smart meter installed. Otherwise, our system will never know if you have a smart meter or not. So whenever you install a battery or a smart meter, you go to the interface page of the data manager, and then you tell what you have connected. Like if you have a meter, then you have to choose the meter, and then it will ask you where have you placed. If you placed before a big load, you have to tell it's just a consumption meter, so it measures the load. Or if you put it in the feed-in path, like before the utility meter, then you have to choose, okay, it's in a feed-in path, so it will measure how much you are producing and also how much you are consuming. So to display the right values, you need to choose which meter is installed where. So you can address the meters and you can choose what meter does what. And coming to the load management, you have option to control we have 4 digital IOs, so you can control up to 4 loads. If you look into your inverter, in the DATCOM region, we have the data manager, and in the data manager, you can see this orange plug. And there are 4 IOs available in this orange plug. Or in case if you want Modbus connection, this is where you connect your Modbus. On the right side, D+, D-, and minus. For taking like a central control systems or whatever. You can use this Modbus to take information. And these IOs are used for controlling different loads. It can be an air conditioner, pool pump, or a big load like a washing machine or whatever. How do you set up? So you can choose which load. Okay, IO 1. I want to control by power production, or I want to control by surplus power. So if you choose power production, you will control based on the power produced by the inverter. You can set up rule like turn on this load when I produce 500 watt, when I produce 2 kilowatt or whatever, or turn off this load whenever I produce this much energy. Or if you choose to control by a surplus power, you can choose this option. So this will control your load based on the feed-in. Like it doesn't care how much you are producing, but it cares how much you have excess. For example, in this case, whenever I have 1000 watt excess, I will turn on my load. And then when it will turn off, when the consumption is 500 watt. For example, if I'm consuming more than 500 watt from the grid, or you can set your value like 100 watt, then if I exceed that limit, if I start consuming 100 watt from the grid, then it will turn off this load. So you can set on, off limit. But what happens if you keep on, off for like, because the PV production is based on the sun power, and if there is a cloud, fast moving clouds, your production may vary, your feed-in may vary. So it will keep turn on and off your load. It may damage your load. That's why there is a fail-safe. So whenever there is a signal goes in, you can choose how long it has to be on. For example, if you set it for 10 minutes, whenever there is a signal, whenever there is a feed-in exceeds 10,000 watt, sorry, it's not volt, watt. Whenever there is a feed-in exceed 1000 watt, then there will be a signal that will turn on minimum for 1 minute. So even if the consumption goes below 500 watt, it will not turn off for the next 1 minute. You can choose this like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever you want, so that you don't play with the on-off switch, you know. And then you can decide how many maximum duration per day you want to do this load. For example, also you don't want to do this wall load, because if you set this rule, maybe it will never turn off. For example, if you set 60 minutes here, and then if your load is like a washing machine or whatever, then it will keep running from the grid power because you set a failsafe. So that's why we have this. So maximum duration per day for this signal is like 60 minutes or 120 minutes, so that you use wisely. So this is the load management system we provide. So maximum up to 4 loads you can control. It can be anything. You have to connect a relay because these IOs are sending 12 volt DC, like digital outputs, which can trigger a relay, and then it can turn on your load. It can turn on or off your loads based on the. But as you know, there is a lot of things you cannot control here, because it's only on and off function based on the surplus or PV production. That's why we have this on pilot, because this is a continuously variable thing. It doesn't care. As long as you have excess energy of 300 watt, it will send it to your heating system. You can connect your single phase system or 3-phase system. If it is single phase, it's only possible to have 3 kilowatt or up to 3 kilowatt, or if it is 3-phase, you can have up to 9 kilowatt. You can connect up to 2 heating rods, and it's a plug and play type. You can retrofit to any PV system, not just Fronius, but any system. This one pilot can work with any inverter. And it communicates through, you can communicate through Modbus, or you can communicate through VLAN. It's possible. So whenever there is a excess energy going to grid, then it will be sent to the home pilot. For example, if you are producing 1500 watt, and if you are consuming 1000 watt by other loads, and if you are sending 500 watts to the grid, then the smart meter will tell us that this can be sent to the home pilot. So this is continuously variable. It's not like on-off function. Whatever you have excess, it will be sent to the home pilot, and then the home pilot will send it to the resistive loads. Whatever the loads you can connect, it can be anything, but it has to be a resistive. It cannot operate a complex motor device or something. So you can connect a heating rods or floor heating things, or if it is smart grid ready heat pump, you can connect it to this home pilot. Yeah. It's same with this electric vehicle charging. For example, you can connect a relay, 12 volt relay, to this IO, one of the IOs, and then you can connect it to the electric vehicle charging machine. So whenever there is a surplus, or whenever there is a minimum production mentioned by you, then it will turn on this relay and it will turn on this charging. But what happens when you work with that relay, as I mentioned, it is like an on-off function. At a certain PV production, it will turn on this relay, and a certain production, it will turn off. For example, here, it looks like it turned off at 500 watts, and it's turned on like 3 kilowatt or something. So it is like it is charging with a constant power. As soon as you turn on the relay, it charges with the, let's say here it's 3 kilowatt. So it charges with 3 kilowatt. So still, this is not fully optimized, because you can see this gray region, this power is coming from the grid, because this red is the production, PV production. But if you use one of the dynamically controllable EV charging, there are a couple of devices which are cooperating with Fronius. You can control them dynamically. In that case, your consumption will look like this. Like you can exactly send the excess production to the charging, not like the previous one. Here, it's consuming the constant power. It's charging with the constant power. But here it's charging with the exact surplus power. To compare it in one slide, you can see this first picture showing the a normal. There is no communication. This is a normal system. Just you are coming home at 4 o'clock or something like that in the evening, and then plug in your electric vehicle to the charger. It is charging with the maximum fullest power available. So he's charging, let's say like 12 kilowatt or something, and then it's fully charged in 1 hour. But if you see here later on the same day, he is producing like 70 up to 20, like up to 8 o'clock he is producing. Still he is sending this to grid. So at 4 o'clock he consumed a lot of power from grid, and later point he is sending to grid. So it's not wise. That's why we have this IO, load management function. If you use that, you can do this, like when you come home like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever. When you have surplus, you use it with the surplus. So it's controlling the output power. But still it's not wise, like the dynamic control still is good. If you compare the first picture and second picture, you can see the difference. Of course, he is also going to charge his car fully, but in a later point of the day. He will wait until whatever he gets with PV, he charge it with that, and then he do this full charge later at other point of the day. But if you see the dynamic controllable option, you can already see the difference, that it is more optimal solution, so that you control dynamically how much power goes to the grid, goes to the EV charging based on your excess production. There is a separate webinar, as I mentioned before. There is a separate webinar for everything in Fronius YouTube channel. Please go and watch if you have more questions there, or you can always reach Tim or me for more questions. Getting back to troubleshooting and service process.
Or will you take the simulation on the Fronius Solar Web?
Yes, exactly. Thanks for reminding me, Tim. Yes.
I've been waiting for this.
So if you go to a PV system, then if you go to analysis, you can see there are different simulations. Right now, it's not the external one, the battery simulation, because it's under testing phase. But if you can see the simulation of Home Pilot, you can see, okay, based on the you can choose what are the options you are using. So today, this guy is using, let's say he's using, I don't know what's most common. Is it oil is not most common in Sweden? Maybe geothermal or central heating systems, but let's choose geothermal. So today he's using geothermal, and we have to choose energy consumption per year. And here I have to choose the boiler size, like let's say 250, and it's a, let's say family or employed. It doesn't matter. You can choose which option suits you better. So I'm a family with the 250 liters water. Today I'm using a geothermal heat pump, and I'm consuming like 6,000 kilowatt hour per year, and this is my electricity cost. And if I see, okay, if I have a Home Pilot at my home, this can already tell, okay, this gray region is the consumption from the grid or from the PV or things. So this blue color are the things where I can use my PV production to control my heating system. So based on this, I can save up to 232 euros per year. So, and I have chosen the heating system lifetime, I can choose something different as well. For example, if I go to advanced settings, I can choose different things, like I can choose boiler temperature, minimum boiler temperature and maximum, and number of persons, things like that. So this can simulate and tell how much I can save. For example, when I choose 4 persons, I can see that I can save up to 405 euros per year. All I have to do is just buy a Home Pilot and connect it to my heating rod. That's it. So here, this is something about battery, but right now we don't, this is under beta system. So you can choose battery, and you can choose how much you can save based on this battery, but this is not fully functioning yet. But right now, Home Pilot is functioning well. battery simulation. Maybe later we will come back with a webinar, different webinar. I can show full function of these battery simulations. Sorry for that. And yeah, coming back to the slides, there is a tech support area for installers in our website. If you go to fronius.com, you can see, if you go to fronius.com and go to solar energy, you can go to info center. This place explains how to install smart meter, or how to install a PV system with the PV genset solution or off-grid solutions, or how to do a software update, etc. So this is the region for installers, where it can tell about manuals or monitoring service, or what are the other things available, like open communication, Modbus or API, things like that. And troubleshooting. When it comes to troubleshooting, maybe already most of you knows, or for those who are new to this Fronius, you just have to, whenever you call us, contact us for troubleshooting, it will be easy for us and also for you if you have some information collected, for example, serial number of the inverter, and if there is a state code or error code in your terms. If there is any state code, you can, why it is not called error code, because not all the codes are meaning some error. For example, if it says 509, it means simply there is no production for the past 24 hours. Maybe there is snow on your roof, so it doesn't mean that there is an error. Or for example, if it says 569, maybe there was a ISO problem, like, or isolation problems in the mornings. So it doesn't mean an error. So that's why we call this state code. So whenever there is a state code, then if you tell us, that will be useful. Or you have to explain the fault, like is it permanent or temporary, or is it like periodic, like every day in the morning it's happening, or it's like right after the raining, every time it rains, then there is a problem, things like that. So these are the three important things. When you contact us, it will be helping both of us to understand the problem better. So serial number and the state code and the type of fault. And if you are a service partner or a system partner, you can give us your FSP number. That's also easy. And our tech support team will try to solve the problem. If not, then we will send you the exchange part, either to your address or to the site address. Then you can exchange it, then you can send it back. But you have to troubleshoot this with the tech support team. So if there is a problem, please don't send it back, the product, to any of your sales partners where you bought, or to Fronius. Don't do that. Or you don't take the product off from the wall or off from the site. It will be really helpful if you are going to site, just give a call to us. Even before going to the site, you can give a call. You can give a call to the tech support team and say, hey, it's not running, or is it something blown up, or whatever. You can just call and check what you need to have before you go to the site. So just give a call. So if you are calling from site, then it will be easy for us to troubleshoot what's the problem. Maybe sometimes it's a fuse, or if it's a software update, or it's an easy thing. Maybe it's a screw, fastening screw, you missed it, something like that. Why I'm stressing is sometimes people getting irritated and calling us and telling, hey, I have been to this site 2-3 times, but it's not working. The problem is you didn't call us from the first time. That's the problem. If you're doing it like 4 or 5 hours on your own, obviously it's understandable that you are already getting irritated. So anything takes more than 10 minutes. I always tell this in all my training. If you are not able to solve anything within 10 minutes or even 5 minutes, just give a call. Please give a call when it is earlier, so that, I mean, like, it's better to call us before spending 1 hour in the site and getting irritated, you know. Sometimes people do that. I mean, like, we do the same help, but still it's your time. So don't spend more time. So just give a call if something is wrong, if something you are not sure, if you have some question, give a call to our tech support team or one of our advisors. Then we will guide you from there. It's easy that way. So as I mentioned, if it is not possible to solve on site, then we will send you exchange part. you can go to site and fix it, and then you have to return the faulty component to us. We will inspect the faulty. That's how we know if there is a real fault in the problem or not. So it's very important to ship it back, the faulty product, to us. You can do this return shipment using the DHL portal. If you go to the portal and if you enter the case number, you can create a pickup. You can schedule a pickup time, and then DHL will come and collect the faulty product. Or if you are not sure about any problem, sometimes there is a lightning or something, and it's not covered under warranty, and you don't know what to do. Well, you can talk to our support team, and we will create a pickup request, and then you can send this product to our service team, and then we will send you a quote how much it costs to fix this problem, because it's a lightning or something else which is not covered under warranty. So we can tell you a quote, and then you can decide if you want to fix it or not. So there is a tool called Solar Online Support, Fronius SOS. This is a troubleshooting tool. If you log in, if you go to this link, of course, we will send you this presentation. So later you can go to this link and create an account for yourself, so that this will help you. For example, when you enter a state code or error code, this will help you to troubleshoot the problem. I would like to go to the SOS tool quickly. I know we are running out of time, but quickly I would like to show this because this is very important for an installer. So if you go to SOS tool, how to create an account here. So if you go to tws.fronius.com/voice, sorry, I don't want to tell this link. It's just here. If you click this link from the presentation here, if you click this link, it will take you to the web page, and then you can go here, click register. You enter this your details, just click register. You will receive an email where you have to activate your account. Then you will be asked for your customer number. You contact Fronius Tech Support. We will give you the customer number. As soon as you create this, you will receive a customer number from us, and then you are done. Once you have a Fronius SOS account, I will use a test account here. You can log into your account, and then you can see here, you can see all your cases for past 3 months. But it's a test account, so there is no case. Also, for example, you can query if there is a customer coming with you like, hey, I have an inverter and it's a problem. Then you can check the serial number here, and you can find if the inverter is under warranty or not. If you type the serial number, it will show you. I don't know if this, sorry, it's the wrong serial number. I don't have an active serial number here. Let's see, 3427759. Well, yeah, you can see this name of the device. It's a dummy. It's a test device I have it at my facility. But you can see how much warranty it has. It has a warranty until 2022, Fronius Warranty Plus. Probably this guy didn't register because it's a demo device. So if you register, then you will get more warranty. Here you can start troubleshooting, or you can go for troubleshooting from here. Just choose a product group, Fronius Echo, and tell a state code, then you can start troubleshooting. It will, step by step, it will give you what could be the problem here. Like, this is a grid relay error. If it occurs once, it will be automatically corrected. Maybe if it is occurring very often, then what do we do? Okay, step 2, the cause. Okay, it could be software error. So you have to run the latest software update. You can do this in SolarWeb. Or if it still doesn't solve the problem, you go to next step. Okay, neutral connector not grounded. Maybe there is a disconnection. Check the AC connection. So it will help you to identify the problem step by step. If it doesn't solve the problem, then you can see you have to replace some board. It will suggest you to replace something, maybe a filter board or a whole inverter. Then you can request the exchange here. Then here you have to give the serial number, and then it will take you to the next page where you can enter your address. So it's a easy tool. And yeah, hints for inverter exchange. Whenever there is an exchange inverter coming to you, this inverter will not have any data manager. Remember, the wall bracket and termination plug you have to retain from the inverter at site. We are sending you an inverter with a dummy front cover, and we call it transport cover, and we will not send you any data manager or anything. So after every exchange, you have to update the software. You can do this either by USB or by SolarWeb website. And then you have to choose the country setup, and then warranty remains unchanged. So warranty will be automatically exchanged between the faulty and to the new exchange inverter. And in case if you are changing only reservoir, remember there is a breakoff point in the reservoir, because when you get an exchange inverter, you will get an inverter with a fully programmed reservoir. But when you exchange a reservoir alone, we will send you a brand new reservoir, and it will not have any information in it. So you have to use this break-off print from the faulty reservoir, just break this off, and then put it back in the new reservoir you are receiving from us, so that the program will be copied from that print. And in the new reservoir, you have to break off this print and throw it. Don't worry, you will get all this information when you order a new reservoir, in case if you order. Or you can always reach our tech support team and call, how do you do the exchange? So Fronius service partner training concept. As I mentioned, maybe some of you are already as Fronius service partners. Now we have a new concept called system partner. Before going to a system partner, why you have to be a system partner? Because day by day it's increasing that previously it's only PV system. Nowadays, you want to connect everything to PV system. Of course, it's wise to connect like that, like big loads or electric vehicle charging or a battery or a hydrogen storage, Fronius hydrogen storage. So it's very important to understand this integration more. So you need more trainings or more advanced knowledge about the PV system, not just PV system, but also other consumptions at your home. So you need to consult more, like end customers need not just a PV system from us anymore. They need something more, something else as well, like a smart meter or a home pilot or electric vehicle charging. So that's why we want you to be more competent, get higher knowledge about what all the things can be added to the Fronius system at least. Yeah. And your benefits, of course, you will present in our online installer search. When someone want to search install a Fronius device, then they can go and check it in our website, and you will be listed in our website as a system partner. And then for all the system partners, Fronius SolarWeb Premium is free. And priority in tech support hotline, because in the hotline, when you call us, we have to give you some benefits, because sometimes end customer call us and ask them to help commissioning a data manager, and it takes 30 minutes for us to help them. And if as a system partner, it is not nice to make you wait until our tech support helps the end customer. So that's why we give priority hotline for the system partners. So when you call us, we know that the system know that there is a system partner is waiting online. Then we can arrange a new agent, or we can hold the available agent and pick your call faster. So you don't have to wait a long time in our hotline as a system partner. And all spare parts are available only for the system partner, because normal installer can only exchange the whole inverter. They cannot change the PCBs or anything. It's only possible for the system partner to exchange the PCBs. It may not be interesting, so it may not sound interesting when I say like this, but imagine if there is a system without warranty. For example, if there is a lightning and it damaged only the filter board, and it will be wise to repair the filter board instead of changing the whole inverter, because there is no warranty. And as a system partner, we can simply change the filter board alone, and the filter board costs roughly around 400 euros. Instead of changing an inverter for 2,000 euros, you can provide a service to your customer for changing only the filter board. So that's possible. And you will get exclusive marketing material as a system partner, and you can use our system partner logo in all your documents. So these are the benefits of a system partner. But how to become a system partner? There are 3-day training concept. So if you are new to PV business, you have to go through day 1, basic products and solutions and other things. Day 2, installation and commissioning trainings. Day 3, system partner trainings. If you are new to PV business, you have to take all these 3 days. But if you are already have some experience with PV business, then you don't have to take this day 1. You can take the installation and commissioning training. Together with the Synergia, we will arrange some trainings in the future. In the past, we have arranged some trainings, but due to coronavirus situation, we have to cancel that. Sorry for that. But right after the summer, we are planning for some trainings. So we will arrange installation and commissioning trainings. And then later you can take the system partner training, because this is a must qualification training to become a system, to attend the system partner training. So once you take the installation and commissioning training, you are allowed to take this training if you install 5 Fronius inverter and 5 PV systems. There are certain rules, like, because many times people become a system partner or service partner and then they don't install anything. They don't have any practical knowledge, but then they are available in our website. When the customer calls you, they don't get a good service, because as a system partner, they expect you to be a little bit more competent. But if you don't have any practical experience, you won't have this knowledge. So that's why we say you must have a 5 installation of Fronius inverters and 5 installation of 5 PV system commissioning, like a solar monitoring commissioning. So you should have done 5 PV system monitoring in SolarWeb. Then only you can participate in the day 3 system partner training. You can do this after taking this training, or if you have already installed some inverters and if you have already installed some monitoring, you will be qualified for this training. But it is a must. To become a system partner, you must take this installation and commissioning training, and then you have to have 5 Fronius inverters installed and monitoring commissioned. In case if you want to go to Austria, sometimes you can take these 2 trainings right after next days, but still you have to do this. You have to do these 5 installations of inverters. Then only you will be marked as a system partner in our website. So just simply attending this training doesn't make you as a system partner. This is a qualification training for a system partner. So day 3 is called a system partner training. Or if you are already a Fronius service partner, there are some people I know who participated in the training in Stockholm or Gothenburg or in Växjö. So if you are already a Fronius service partner, existing service partner who know how to do in PCB board exchange, you can directly participate in this training. I think you have already received an invitation from Fronius marketing team, because last week we sent a marketing mail telling that now we are changing our service partner to a system partnership. So if you are an existing service partner, you can participate in this day 3 training directly. But if you are a normal installer, if you are not a service partner, Fronius service partner already, you have to participate this training, and then you have to have these conditions met to become a system partner. That's all. I think I took too much time. Sorry, because sometimes I wanted to explain more.
Don't worry, Vinoth. It was full of very interesting topics, and I hope everybody who participated know who Fronius is and what Fronius can do for you. So if there are any more questions, do not hesitate to ask them now. We still have a little bit of more time. We actually have a schedule for a full 2 hours, so don't worry.
Yeah, actually I was planning for a half an hour or 15 minutes question and answer session, but normally I do this training for at least 4 hours. So I squeezed 4 hours of training into these 2 hours. That's why I was, yeah. So
yeah, let's see if we have any specific questions in the chat, or if you have some questions that you did realize that I should have asked that question during the webinar and you forgot it, don't hesitate to contact either me or Vinoth afterwards. We will provide our email addresses, and you could also contact the technical team at both Synergia or at Fronius if you have any specific questions with the setup of your system, or if you just need to purchase some new inverters for your new project. So it's pretty calm in the chat. So I think that that's it. John says thank you, and thank you everybody who participated, and we wish you a great day and
great summer.
Exactly, a great summer. And then we will be back with the trainings that Vinoth mentioned. And yeah, take care, everybody. I will shut down the meeting now. So see you.
Thanks, Tim, and thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thank you.